Not many have heard of the name Frida Kahlo, and when I find this out, it makes it's hard for me to believe because growing up, I always knew of Frida Kahlo. I knew who she was. You might be thinking why you should know her. Who is she? Why is she so important? She's an icon in Mexican culture. Um, she suffered through a lot in her young life and her marriage life. So, all that pain, she learned to express it in art, and she was very talented. Um, Growing up, I always saw her images around my hometown. I would see backpacks with her face on it. I would see shirts with her face on it. And I was like, who is she? Why do I keep seeing her? So I ended up searching her up, and I found a biography of her starring Salma Hayek. So I saw it and I found it very interesting. So I would tell my friends about it and if they have seen it or do they know who she is. And when they would tell me that they had no clue, it would make me want to explain her life. Females are taught to follow, not to lead. Seeing how she grew up independently out of her family shadow and her famous husband shadow, I wanted to follow that example. Today you're gonna learn about who Frida Kahlo is and why she's one of the persons that I look up to. So let's start off by her childhood. She was born in 1907 in Coyoacan, Mexico. Um, at the age 6, she was diagnosed with a disease named polio, which makes one of your legs be thinner than the other one. And she also suffered through a lot of spinal injuries. So most of her time she would get a lot of surgery. So most of her time she would spend it out in the bed, just on bed rest. And during that time is when she started getting into art because she didn't have much to do. She often painted a lot of self-portraits of her. The reason why is, according to the Frida Kahlo Foundation, Frida quoted, "I paint myself because it's the subject I know best." In 1925, Frida Kahlo was in a bus accident where the bus crashed and one of the metal rods went through her womb and crushed her pelvis. Once she recovered, she went. Oh, she was in bed rest for a lot of months also because of that, because she was in a full body cast. Once she recovered, she went back to a gang that she was in while she was in high school named the Cachuchas. It was a group that mainly focused on politics. So once she got better, she went back to them and she went to a party and was formally introduced to Diego Rivera, which was her husband. So let me tell y'all a little bit about Diego Rivera and who he was in her life. At the age of 15, Frida Kahlo was in high school and Diego ended up going to her high school to paint a mural. So once she saw that, she became very interested and knew that she wanted to pursue art later on in life. But little did she know that he would be the one mentoring her. So when Frida had recovered the bus incident, she went to a party that one of her friends was throwing, and that's where she officially met Diego Rivera. They met in 1928, and later on, a year later, they ended up getting married. Her mother didn't approve of the relationship because there was such a big age gap, and because he was a ladies' man. But despite what people said about their relationship, the both were madly in love. Diego ended up eventually cheating on her because once a cheater, always a cheater. But one of the times that he cheated was with her sister. And after that, she ended up getting revenge and started to cheat on him a lot. In 1939, Diego filed for divorce, but then a year later, the both remarried each other, and it was a less toxic relationship. For some time, her artwork was very famous in both the United States and Mexico, but she started to suffer later on because she wouldn't accommodate to what her clients wanted in the art. So now you might be wondering if I wasted your time about an artist that you're never going to hear about. So as I wrap this up, I want to remind you females, you're supposed to lead, not to follow. I know that she might not seem important, right? But let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of an artist that had her own art show, but she couldn't attend it because she had to be in bed rest, so she had an ambulance carry her in her bed to her art show? Thought so. So I hope you remember bits of this speech and tell her cool story to someone someday.